fiction, science fiction, horror, fantasy, crime, LGBT, thriller.
You have now entered the House of Mystery.
Welcome back into the House of Mystery. I'm Al Warren. Mr. Dave Martino is here.
I am here.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what name you were going to use.
Well, it's the new year. Start out subtle and then go for the kill later.
Yeah, exactly.
So there we go. Another new year. Another year
New
old.
Year. Happy New Year.
25. And this year, oh God, this is the year you turn what don't you turn 72 or something?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
27. No. But 54. 54 next
Oh.
month. Yeah.
Boy, that's a tough age.
Yeah. It's just a number, Al. Just a number.
Just a number, and you're
Just
back.
rocking and rolling.
Everything's the same for you, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, not completely, but, you know.
Yeah, but karate. You're still doing the karate and all.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Still training.
yeah. And sorry, I guess you watched the Golden Globes. Did you record it and watch it like 50 times?
I did not watch the Golden Globes.
Oh, you're falling apart. What's going on?
No. I don't know. I haven't watched the Golden Globes in forever.
Yeah.
I mean, I like movies. I don't know if I care about the awards.
Yeah, I know. Kind of get away from that, eh? You know?
Did you watch?
No, of course
No.
not. No,
They-
the thing is with me is I'm getting so I don't know anybody on them anymore. Like
Oh, yeah,
people get
that's true.
nominated and all that, and this
Like
person
who?
won, but this year Demi Moore won, hey?
Oh, I did see that.
So that was someone like, wow,
Yeah.
I know that name.
Yeah.
And,
From
and
our
I saw-
day, Al.
Yeah, and I saw that movie she did.
Oh, the newest one?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, I'm surprised it won, but I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just surprised. I mean, it was fine, but it's kind of a horror movie, right?
Oh.
Horrors usually don't win.
Yeah, well, that's true.
You know, it's just like comedies. A lot of times their people don't win as much. They don't get the attention, I guess. So we're starting out the year. This isn't the first show we've done, but it's up there. It's our first week back, and we're going to be talking about. We're going to learn how to take on the mob. You know, it's going to be hustling the mob, the mafia, malware, and murder. Sounds right down your lane, that's for sure, being Boston. So we've got the author of that book, Don Spillane. So thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm really pleased to be here. Thank you for the compliment.
It's a pleasure to have you. And so, listen, let's talk about, before we get into the book, maybe let the audience know a little bit about who you are, kind of a rough general, like what's your background before you became a writer?
My first real career was with the Metropolitan Police in London, which is commonly known as Scotland Yard. And I was a uniform officer there for a couple of years, and then a detective working all kinds of stuff, from murders to armed robbery, all that sort of stuff. And I did that until 1973, when I joined the advertising business on a newspaper. That brought me across to the States, and I've been here ever since.
When you're a cop like that, and you're dealing with criminals, like I know it says here, like the gangsters, like the Cray twins and stuff like that, how does that taint you toward the general population? You know what I mean? Do you start?
No.
It doesn't?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I work at the East End of London, which is, you know, like Queens or the Bronx. It's a poor area, or it was at that time. It's since become gentrified because it's close to the city of London. The police in England at that time, most people, except the villains, of course, had respect for you. So it was a much more friendly interchange with the population than you have here. Here it looks like, to me, it's black and white, and it's not a very friendly exchange between the public and the police. In England at that time, it was, you had much more respect, and people were willing to help out.
Yeah, definitely the tone has changed. There's a lot of differences, but I think there's also a difference more so in America as compared to the UK, even today. I don't think it's extreme as much in the UK, but I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. It's changed a lot. I mean, today the crime is just everywhere. In my day, it was much, as a police officer, it was much different. We had stop and search on the streets, which I don't believe they have now. Well, that took a lot of crime away because you actually saw the criminals and saw them doing something suspicious. So you stopped them and searched them and found whatever, housebreaking implements or whatever, and arrested them. So a lot of the just simple crimes were solved by being there and dealing with it on the spot. Today, I think they're letting a lot of that stuff slide.
Oh, yeah. Dave gets away with the daily.
Yeah. They never stop me, and that's...
They never stop him.
They've given up.
They've given up. Yeah, because they could just hang out at his house and there'd be, lots of action going on. Well, so now here you are, and you get into this, and you've written a book, like Hustling the Mob. So what led you to do this type of book? Was there something about the mob or something about a fictional crime book that you got into? Like, where did this all happen for you?
Well, back in, your readers are a lot younger than I am, or your listeners are a lot younger than I am, I'm sure. But about 30 years ago, I wrote a book about my police experiences. And I submitted it to a friendly author who put up with the lack of punctuation and bad spelling. And she said, well, look, what you've got here is a series of short stories. There's no beginning, middle, and end. So I sort of abandoned the project then and went back to it occasionally. And then 3 years ago, I decided I'm going to leave that behind and start a new book, but I'm going to make it contemporary. Comparatively contemporary, because I said it in 1996. Now, why the mob? There were, like everybody else, I've had adventures in life. I'm not going to say I had more adventures or different adventures, but I've had a lot of adventures. One of them was, and I obviously don't say where or when or who or how, but I was driving with a partner by a cafe, and this wasn't in Los Angeles, but I said, I heard that that's a mob hangout. Why don't we go in there? Don't ask me why I did this. It was a restaurant just on the Italian restaurant. So we went in there, and you had to go in through the back because that's where the car park was. So I went in through the back, and we went in fairly quickly, and there were a couple of people sitting near the door, but they didn't really have time to stop us before we selected a booth and sat down. And as we sat down, I could see by the front entrance there was a table with about 20 guys sitting around it. One of them gets up, comes over to us and says, I'm so-and-so. Who are you? I said, well, I'm so-and-so, and we're just here to get something to eat. What's the problem? Oh, okay. So he says then, well, as you can see, we're having a fundraiser for our friend, and he indicated a very prominent politician sat at the table. So I said, oh, well, that's great, and we want our food. Anyway, he went back to the table. The politician got up and left about 2 minutes later with about 3 of his entourage. So we had our meal, and the food was terrible. Had our meal, and then Vincent came up to us and said, do you want to meet the big man? So I said, yes. So he went up, shook hands, and he says, well, anything you need, come see me. It was like, yeah, I'm going to take you up on that. So that was, one of the, I relate that in the book actually, but that was kind of one of the attractions to using the mafia, in as much as it was an easy subject to get into.
Well, how careful do you need to be getting inspiration from actual cases and experiences? Do you have to be careful not to reveal certain criminal methods and certainly confidentiality. How did you find doing stuff like that throughout writing the book?
Well, the only thing that you had to be, because there are some characters in there that are based on, people, maybe a mixture of two people or a mixture of three people and set in a different place. So you've got to be careful when you're using that type of thing that people can't identify themselves, as it were. But in terms of feeling threatened, no, not at all.
No, your characters, let's say Sarah and Joshua, so you've got two. Are you telling it from both their points of view, or how do you write? What point of view are you writing it from?
Good question. I'm basically the story just sort of poured out. I don't really tell it from their perspective. When I'm writing about the mob, it's about their perspective. So there's no set perspective. The good thing about Sarah and Joshua are readers have related to me this a number of times. They find them likable, and I kind of made them that way. And because they're likable, you tend to support what they do, whether it's a criminal act or not. But the way that the things that they do, the hacking, I had a friend who advised me on computers and what have you in this period of time, and the safe cracking. I've dealt with a safe cracking, but there is a way of opening safes where it literally listen to the clicks of the lock inside the lock. And on the Hollywood movies, you see them just putting the stethoscope up there and, then they manipulate the dial. The reality is you can do that, but you have to use graph paper to kind of record where the numbers are and what have you. But there are YouTube videos showing a couple of guys actually doing this live. So it's very possible to do.
It's interesting. Now, the dialogue between them, how do you create dialogue? How do you feel your characters or know your characters personally, or what's your own experience writing these characters?
Basically, I just make it up as I go along. I don't kind of plan it all out, and some writers plan every chapter and what they're going to say and all the rest of it. I didn't do that. I'm writing a prequel now, and I'm not doing it with the prequel either. I'm a novice writer. It just sort of came to me, okay, well, why don't you do this? I'm too old, not too old, but my financial business, I just see regular clients now. I'm not out seeking new business. So it was a way really of using my time to the best advantage. And then when I started getting star ratings on Amazon, and editorial ratings and what have you, I suddenly realized, well, okay, it's not too bad. I had no idea whether it was a good book or not. But other people seem to be finding that they like it if they're interested in, thriller, gangster, murder sort of thing. And so that's really it. I just sit down and write, and the conversations between the two are all made up on the spot.
Well, I'm wondering, as the story is coming to you, it's pouring through you onto the page, do you hear the characters? Can you see them in your mind? Does it like unveil like a movie as you're doing that? What's your experience?
Well, my experience is basically it just goes from brain to paper. Now, I'm not saying I don't alter it afterwards, because I do. You have to edit all the time. But basically, it's just the whole thing pours out on the paper. I try and write 1,000 words a day. And what I do is after I finish writing for the evening, then I'll review it the following day. And sometimes you have to sit on things for a week or so and then come back to it, and you get a fresh perspective that way. But mostly it's coming out of my head and just going on the page, and with edits.
Yeah, well, Dave's asking because he wants to play the Joshua role in the movie when it comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Just,
Don't we all?
of course.
I thought you were going to say I hear voices, and that's
Yeah, well, that too.
yeah, that's true too.
But it's still contained. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not wild there, But well, so it all comes out at the end of the day. Book's finished. It's out there, and you look back at it. It has a subtext or a meaning. Maybe came from this. Like, is there something you want the reader to get, or is it pure entertainment? And I don't mean that because you write the way you do. You just kind of sit and write. It's not like you plotted a meeting, but I find quite often when you write a story, at the end of it, a subtext comes out of it more organically. So I'm just wondering if maybe that happened or maybe not.
No, I think it's pure entertainment. And people don't read today like they used to. I came from a family of readers, and I think today the market for this book is really people 45 plus, and it's mostly women who are buying books at that age. It's really unbelievable. There's no message in the book. It's really just entertainment.
So how do you think the experience of writing this book's changed you?
It's given me confidence that I can write, as long as I have an editor and a proofreader, which is why I started a second book, because people seem to like this one, and if people like it and I can come up with a couple of follow-ups, which I will, then yeah, why not?
So is this gonna work into a series with these characters, do you think, or this
Yes.
It will, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, it will. It'll be a series of prequels. So where they are right now, I'm going to go back in time and probably introduce them and all the rest of it. I'm just going to say Nazi art theft is kind of the theme of the book.
Well, how do you deal, especially looking at this as a series, how do you plan on keeping track of continuity? With your world building and your characters, will you have a series Bible? Do you use like systems or tools to keep everything kind of on track?
To be honest with you, not really. It's just, I'm sure there will be continuity problems that hopefully the proofreader will pick up. No, I think it's all going to be, it'll be fine. I'm not worried about, making errors in continuity and what have you. I think I've got that under control.
There you go.
So there.
Yeah.
So there.
Well, if there's a mistake,
let that be a lesson to you.
Yeah. Well, if there's a mistake made, you can always say it was a dream, right?
There you go.
When in doubt. That's crazy. So what's your biggest inspirations for writing?
Well, I'd love to write like John le Carré or Len Deighton. Le Carré is just the master of spy stuff, and just his language and the way it just makes me look at that and want to go out and get drunk or something. I mean, it's just phenomenal writing with great plots. The whole thing. I mean, it's just so that he was an inspiration, and Len Deighton writes a more down to earth type spy novels, and I like that too. But I'm a big Shakespeare fan, and Shakespeare, if you look at Hamlet and some of the plot there, I mean, just the deviousness of it is just incredible. So that's pretty much it in terms of inspiration. I don't read so much these days. I'm too busy, but I used to read mainly thrillers, adventure, fiction, the occasional biography or autobiography if it interested me. But that's about it, really.
Dave Martino, he's good reading.
I'll remember that.
Yeah, write that down. He's just like le Carré. It's just there's very little difference. I think he's.
I wish.
Would you like a little police story that brought me to being a detective.
Why not? It's always fun.
Yeah.
Listeners.
Okay. So I'm 22 and they gave me a police car to drive around. Sometimes I had somebody with me, most of the time not. So my first crash, I used to go everywhere at 90 miles an hour with a blue light on and the two-tone siren, you know, the da-da-da-da. So if I was late for lunch, blue light and siren, no question. So my first accident was a genuine one. I was pulling over two jewel thieves and we had a collision. Second one, I don't need to talk about. It was my fault. The third one was the most interesting because I was being sent to a traffic accident, came over the brow of the hill and the roads were kind of slick, but the car over the brow of the hill that you couldn't see was stopped. So I hit the brakes and naturally I hit it, rear-ended it. So, and the horn is going, there, boop, there, boop. And I look over and I'm right beside a bus stop where there's about 8 or 9 people all laughing their heads off. I was just, chagrined. So as a result of that, they took me off the cars and I didn't want to walk, not because I was lazy, but there wasn't any action. So I transferred up to London and that led me into becoming a detective because I realized that that's what I really wanted to do. So that's really how it all happened. Car accidents. You can imagine being in a police car and, under those circumstances. And they realized I was a liability. That's why they took me on. My third car crash.
So they didn't check to see if you could drive before they do that, did they?
You know what? Normally you go on a big police driving course and all this stuff. They didn't do that. They just said, okay, you can drive the area car. And okay, well, I wasn't going to turn it down. So that's what happened. And of course, 3 accidents later, they decided they'd had enough.
Well, there you go. Maybe there's a hope for me to be a cop yet.
Yeah.
well, if you are having accidents all the time, maybe.
Yeah, I'll be captain. So listen, are you set up for website, social media, all that things? Do you like readers to follow you, interact with you and all that? If so, how do they do that?
I've got a website, donspillane.com, and you can download the first chapter for free, and there's a way that you can contact me on that site. I've got videos where I recite police stories in about a minute, 15 seconds, 2 a week, starting next week, on all the social media platforms. So that's kind of where I'm at. I've got a bunch of stuff going out to libraries and what have you. So, if the reader wants to contact me, has questions, hey, I'm available. My email address is on the site. You can contact me. There's a video that summarizes the book without giving away anything. And the bad news is I look nothing like my picture. Thank you, artificial intelligence.
Well, there you have it,
Yeah, I'm very much more grizzled than the picture, trust me.
Yeah, we all are, so don't worry about that. So I'll make sure everything's up on our site so people can find it easily and find you and all that, and that's fantastic. So appreciate you being here and all that. Look forward to hearing more and seeing some more stories and stuff like that. That's fantastic.
You were both of you very gracious. I like your sense of humor, and it's been an absolute pleasure being with you.
So now the book, it's called Hustling the Mob, the Mafia, Malware, and Murder. And Don Spillane is the author, and he's been our guest, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Donald.
You've been listening to the House of Mystery radio show. To find out more about our guests, hosts, or shows, go to www.houseofmystery.com. houseofmystery.com.
Show's over for now.
Was it as good for you as it was for me?
Well, good night.
This has been a production of Something Weird Media.
I'll be back.